China is stepping up efforts to fuel its cooling economy. The government said on Friday that it will cut taxes significantly and spend more on infrastructure next year. In October, Beijing said it will simplify tax brackets for value-added tax and lower social insurance premiums to attract more foreign investments. But that hasn't managed to convince investors. Since January, China's stock market has lost almost $3 trillion. Its main benchmark, the CSI 300 index, has fallen by around 25% so far this year. Well, the ongoing trade war with the United States has also taken its toll on the world's second largest economy. It slowed to 6.5% year on year in the third quarter. That's its weakest pace since the 2008 financial crisis. Analysts expect economic growth for the full year to come in at 6.6% and drop to 6.2% next year. Well, let's get more on this now from TRT World's editor-at-large, Craig Copetas, who joins us now from Paris. Hi, Craig. So the centrepiece of this week-long economic meeting, which attracted all of China's top brass from Chinese President Xi Jinping down. So the centrepiece of this meeting was this promise of so-called significant tax cuts next year. Will that be enough to boost China's slowing economy?
Look, Oscar, any and all prognostications on the Chinese economy need to be predicated on the fact that China is not a democratic free market economy. President Xi has absolute power. There is no Federal Reserve Board. There is no European Central Bank. There is no Security Exchange Commission. There is, however, labor camps and re-education camps. There's an old saying in China amongst businessmen: never eat at a place called Mom's, never play cards with a man called Doc, and never, ever trust a Chinese economic statistic.
We do know that the figures coming out of China are often questionable, at the very least, aren't they? But all of this is happening with the huge shadow of the trade war with the US, obviously. We're seeing increasing signs of a slowdown as a result of the measures being imposed by the United States against China. They're in the middle of a 90-day truce now, in which time China is hoping they'll be able to resolve their differences. Do you think that'll actually happen?
Well, it had better happen. There's no question that the trade war needs to end, regardless of China's bumfuzzling economic statistics. It needs the trade war to end because it will benefit the people of China. Right now, if the trade war continues after the 90-day truce, you can bet your bottom dollar that the Chinese government will go to its people and say, look, we might not be able to accomplish some of the things we promised you. It's time to be heroic. It's the second Great March. Everybody rally around the party. You try to protest, you're going to end up in prison.
We also heard there in the figures that around $3 trillion has been wiped off the Chinese stock market since January this year. That's a whole lot of money. Do you think that the stock market is beyond saving?
No, because the government will continue to prop it up. I have not looked at the most recent statistics on the Chinese stock market, Oscar, but classically, most of the investments in the Chinese stock market are by the Chinese. U.S. institutional investors, the big money, they don't really like going into that arena. Why? Well, we've said so. It's not a democratic free market, and you have a lot of problems. But you have to go there and do business with the Chinese. America needs to sell soybeans to the Chinese. Europe needs to purchase all kinds of items from the Chinese. They are a vital player in the global economy, but they can set their own rules internally and keep their, you would never see a yellow vest protest in China, for example, as you're seeing here in Europe and other parts of the world. It's total control of the economy.
Yes, and despite China insisting that it's going to call its own shots, we are seeing signs that they are really kowtowing, I guess, for want of a better word, to Donald Trump's demands. We saw China make its first significant purchase of soybeans since the trade war began. They're promising to buy more US products in response to Trump's demands. At the end of the day, do you think that Donald Trump's strong arming of China is working?
I think an agreement, and from the trade negotiators I've spoken with, an agreement could have been reached much easier, much simpler, and without all of this nastiness had someone else who knew what they were doing been in the White House. You know, this trade war could go on past the 90-day period. There's no assurance that this truce is going to end and they're going to sign a peace treaty on this. One hopes that they do. The markets hope that they do. The American Congress hopes that it happens. Certainly Wall Street hopes that it will happen. But there's no assurance of that right now with Donald Trump in the White House.
No, that's right. And I guess all eyes are waiting to see what will happen at the end of these 90 days. Craig Copetas in Paris, thank you as always.